Hey guys, today's diagnosis is on Crash of the Titans for the Wii. Crash, Crash, Crash. The mascot for the PlayStation 1, which rivals Sega's Sonic the Hedgehog and Nintendo's Mario. The Crash games are legendary. Well, at least the one made by Naughty Dog. While the first 3 games were developed by Naughty Dog, Crash was owned by Universal. After the first 3 games, Crash games sold relatively well, but nothing like the original trilogy. Crash went through a redesign and the first game in the new style was Crash of the Titans. Wait a minute, a franchise that had 3 amazing games? Then had a plethora of decent and bad games? And then had a redesign? Oh no, is this happening? The events match up, or is this just a coincidence? The game starts with Crash and the gang just hanging out when Cortex arrives, and I noticed that the gang has very familiar voices. Coco sounds like Jimmy from Jimmy Neutron.
Hey, that was a good one!
Aku Aku sounds like Grim from Billy and Mandy.
Deal with them. I have been fighting evil for many centuries.
Crunch is a spoof of Mr. T.
What? You don't even got a body!
And Crash is a drooling idiot. Cortex kidnaps both Aku Aku and Coco. But before he escapes, we save Aku Aku, who falls in the woods, and we go meet up with him. Not only did our characters get a redesign, but so did the gameplay. The original games were a pure platformer, while the new ones are a platform beat 'em up. No, it's just a coincidence. That's all. Crash can now attack, block, and heavy attack. The enemies can do the same, and it becomes rock, paper, scissors. The regular attacks will disrupt heavy attacks. Heavy attacks can break through blocks, and blocks can be used to guard against regular attacks. It's a very basic concept, and it works fine. Releasing Aku Aku from the cage gives us the ability to block. And the main gimmick of the game, controlling Titans. To control a Titan, you have to stun the enemy by hitting them until the star gauge on top of them fills up. This is an awesome mechanic, making you feel unstoppable as you swat and trample through the enemies like it's nothing. Titans control the same way as Crash, but you can't jump, and Titans have a special move. Most of the Titans are unique with their own attack pattern and special move. Also, with such a large variation of Titans placed throughout the game, keeps the Titan mechanic from getting stale. Catching up to Dr. Cortex, we have a boss battle against him. He explained that he has been stealing the mojo to create loyal mutants. Mojos are the little blue orbs we collect in the game that are scattered everywhere. We use them to fill up the mojo circle that gives us an upgrade in health, glide duration, and combo. Defeating Cortex causes another cutscene where Uka Uka decides to replace Cortex with his niece, Nina, who will force Coco to finish building Cortex's giant robot. Chasing after Cortex leads us to Tiny Tiger, and after cornering him, Tiny confesses that Nina is now in charge, and Coco's whereabouts. By the way, Tiny is a Mike Tyson spoof.
Got rid of Cortex. They were tired of Cortex failing all the time.
Aku Aku teleports us close to Coco's location, and Aku Aku has a lot of amazing powers. Flotation, psychic barriers, controls mutant, teleportation, and using his face as a skateboard. In all seriousness, the skateboard parts of the games are fun. Fast action hallway sections where you collect mojo and destroy boxes, while avoiding enemies, bombs, and pits. Kinda reminds me of the auto run sections of the original games. Probably why I enjoyed these sections so much. Instead of finding Coco, we find Dr. N-Jin, who is another spoof, but of Peter lore.
Here, now they'll help us save Dr. Cortex.
Dr. N-Jin decides to help us so we can save Cortex from Nina. We go through some more levels, and while this game's main mechanic is fighting with the Titans, there is platforming. The platforming is janky at times. Even with the jankiness, the platforming is not hard or interesting. It's just meh. Not really worth talking about like the levels in this game. We find Uka Uka and he uses the Evolvo Ray to turn himself into Groot? This boss fight is difficult, but fun. All the boss fights are similar. The way each boss fight works is by having you take control of one of the smaller Titans and work your way up to the strongest Titan, who can damage the main boss or destroy something to defeat the boss. I do want to talk about these rare occasions that spike the difficulty of the game. Sometimes you will be put in an arena with 2 or 3 Titans and can't leave until you defeat them. What is supposed to happen is that you fight one-on-one with a Titan to control it, and then fight the rest of the Titans. However, In certain areas, all the Titans just gang up on you and destroy you in seconds. It seems like the developers knew of this issue and added this power up that stuns the Titan in one hit. But let's say you use the item and still get defeated by the enemy. The power up doesn't come back. Now you have to beat 2 Titans or more as Crash. Titans do a lot of damage, and their stun gauge gradually diminishes if you don't hit them, making these sections extremely difficult. The only way for the power up to appear again is by starting the level over. The last battle is against Nina, and it plays like all the other boss fights. We free Coco, who embraces Crash, which prompts Cortex to say,
Oh, gross. Get a room.
aren't Crash and Coco siblings? This isn't the only time Cortex makes a sexual innuendo. Crash takes out a purple cylindrical object from his pocket and Cortex says,
How long have you had that in your pants?
There's also this line,
Well, actually, it's pretty fun. You should try it. You know, riding around in huge rumbling machines and whatnot. Very stimulating.
and then adding the weird relationship he has with Doctor and Jin.
You don't have any friends? He always kicked you in the turkus and other very gentle spots. But I liked it when he did that.
I think Cortex might be a freak. Comedy in this game relies heavily on randomness, references, and puns. The beginning of episode 8 encapsulates this perfectly. Once you start the level,
Episode 8. Life's a beach.
why you cheeky little game, walk a little and you get this cutscene. The game has a cutscene that doesn't add anything to the story, just to make a reference to the famous Planet of the Apes scene. Since you know, kids from 2007 will understand a reference from a movie that came out in 1968. The rest of the ending is Coco using the purple thingy to stop the giant robot. The evil duo escaped with Cortex saying he was proud of Nina for betraying him, since it was the most evil thing she could have done. But he will,
I'm still going to spank you stupid for this.
for betraying him. I don't know how I feel about that statement coming from Cortex, especially since that's his niece. So, what can you do after beating the game, you ask? Well, each level has 4 rankings: wood, bronze, silver, and gold. To get the higher ranking, you accomplish 3 tasks in each level, which are destroying the spy bot, 3 in each level, defeat a certain number of minions, and do a certain number of combos. Each level also has a mojo room, which is a challenge level, and a concept art though that gets you concept art. By collecting and completing these tasks, one unlocks costumes to wear while playing the game. There isn't anything else to do in this game besides the story mode. In conclusion, this game is decent. The platforming is boring, levels are dull, and the combat is mediocre. Until you get a Titan. The Titans make the fighting much more interesting, with all the different fighting styles and constantly having new Titans throughout the game. It's a shame that such a cool mechanic had to be put in such an average game. Crash had a fall from grace, but nothing like Sonic.
You're too slow.
It's worth at most a play, especially if you can get past the terrible humor. But comedy is subjective.
Pancakes!
Hey guys, hope you enjoyed the episode, and if you did, please like the video and subscribe since these videos do take a while to make. If you're still bored, you can watch my latest one on 007 Quantum of Solace. And as always, my lovely patients, thank you so much for watching, and tune in next time.